When you find a camera that works for you, you know it. The Nikon D750 is one of those cameras for me. I moved back from shooting mirrorless cameras to DSLRs a few years ago and haven't regretted it since. Not that mirrorless aren't great cameras, and I absolutely see their benefits and advantages in certain areas, but I love shooting DSLRs, and I use it for all my professional and personal work. The D750, I think, was integral in helping me make that decision, and there's a number of reasons why. The sensor is one of the biggest. 24 megapixels seems to be the right balance for just about everything I need. I've printed small, large, and extremely large prints with 24 megapixels, and I've had no issues with it whatsoever. The dynamic range of the sensor is fantastic. The ability for it to shoot in low light is renowned. Lots of wedding photographers, commercial photographers, portrait photographers used the D750 and continue to use the D750 because of its excellent sensor. The sensor in the D750 is what Nikon calls FX, or full frame, 35 millimeter format. For me, that just strikes the perfect balance of image quality and size and affordability. I have used different formats. I shot Fujifilm, the GFX medium format system, for quite a while, and great format, really, really nice cameras. I found in the long run, though, the size of the lenses, the size of the system, and the relatively slower apertures on the lenses compared to what you could get in full frame or 35 millimeter wasn't worth it in the long run for me. I also shot Fuji's APS-C system. Great system, beautiful designed cameras, really great image quality, wonderful film emulations, and great lenses. And I would probably still be shooting Fuji if they made a full frame format. I know that might be a contentious issue for some, and Fuji decided to go either below or above the kind of the standard 35 millimeter format to respectfully mark out their territory in those markets. I personally would have been happier with a full frame format. I think that, like I said, to me, it just balances the right size, image quality, and most importantly, lens compatibility for older lenses, allowing you to use them at their native format, which to me, I really enjoy. The size and ergonomics of the D750 is definitely a big selling point for me. I think it just strikes the right balance of not too big, not too small, really comfortable grip, really nice ergonomics. It has a nice solid feel to it. It does feel like it's just made out of a solid, piece of metal. It's just really, really, confidence inspiring. And the button layout where everything is placed is, to me, just super easy to remember, super comfortable. And the basic controls that I use, I'm not somebody who spends a lot of time digging around in menus once I've set the camera up or changing things. The main things I need access to are, the standard photography, triangle, so to speak, aperture on the front dial for me, shutter speed on the back. And the D750 has an ISO button dedicated on its back left side, but I generally reassign it to the top record button so that I can have access to it with one hand while my other hand is, focusing or operating the lens or the aperture if I'm using a manual lens. So very, very simple controls, very, very easy to get to. The other thing that's great about the D750 is the tilt screen. I used many cameras without tilt screen for a long time. Once I started using this, I found that it was pretty indispensable. I do like the fact that it flips out at a 90-degree angle, so I can do low-level shooting very simply, or that I can tilt it down and shoot from above if I'm doing a crowd photo or a group, something like that. It's really nice to be able to look down as well. And when I'm not using it, it's just tucked in. Really, really nice design. It makes it great if you're doing any video work as well, of course. One of the other things that's great about the D750 is the fact that it has an onboard flash. I know that a lot of people don't like to use onboard flash, and I don't use it that often, But there's a couple of things that are really nice about it, as a lot of people know. One is if you have a main flash, and I use flash a lot of times for events. If that flash happens to fail, or if you're in a pinch, it's nice to be able to just pop up the flash and have something in an emergency. If you need a little bit of fill flash or some extra light, that's always great. But the real advantage to me is Nikon's CLS lighting system. And what that is, if you don't know, is the ability to sync the onboard flash with an external flash through what they call the creative lighting system. And I can trigger an offboard flash, do fill flash, do directional flash, do everything that I could with a wireless system through the onboard flash. And that's nice to have. Some people have mentioned that they pop it up accidentally, or it makes the camera potentially less weather resistant. I've never had an issue. I've used a number of Nikon cameras that have onboard flashes, and it's always been 100% reliable. Never had any problems whatsoever. The way Nikon lenses work on the D750 is also a big plus for me. The fact that it does have the f-mount and is compatible with all of the lenses going way back is a plus. Right now, again, I have the 28mm 2.8 AIS lens on here, which is a manual focus, manual aperture lens. And the fact that it actually mounts natively without an adapter and couples to the camera. And what that means is there's a mechanism in here that actually reads the manual aperture ring. So when I move the ring on the camera, it actually shows the aperture on the camera. It actually adjusts the light meter so that I can get a proper reading and proper exposure when I'm using these lenses. The D750 also has a focus motor built into the body. Some of the less expensive Nikon bodies do not have that. So having that in the D750, to me, is another part of what makes this a great value. It allows you to use all of their D-series lenses, which require a focus motor in order to operate the autofocus. There's a little pin that connects to the body, and the motor turns and actually adjusts the focus. And the D-series lenses are fantastic. There's a huge variety of lenses, everything from wide to telephoto, and some really great macro and beautiful portrait lenses in the D-series that can be had for a really good price these days. And the fact that they work on the D750 natively is just a real bonus. There's also a great collection of additional features in the D750, which to me are really functional. The fact that it has dual card slots, and they're both the same type. Got two SD cards in here, one for backup or for extended shooting. Is really nice. A lot of people like to shoot events and have backups of what they're shooting, so the fact that that's built in is really nice on the D750. You also have Wi-Fi, which is great, so I can connect to the app and shoot, holding my iPhone or, a tablet and see what's going on and use the camera remotely. Really nice. I can't talk about the D750 without mentioning the optical viewfinder. The fact that the camera is full frame gives it a really nice, bright, and large optical viewfinder. I still prefer optical viewfinders to EVFs, and having a really nice, clear, bright one is a big bonus on this camera. The focusing system in here is very good. It's very accurate, really good in low light. Some people like to mention that it's not the largest focus area when you talk about how the points cover the size of the sensor. I find that it's okay. I don't use a lot of the external points. I'm one of those guys who uses the center focus points and recomposes. Yes, we still exist out there. I find it quicker. If you're not using an automated system like you have in mirrorless cameras where you're counting on the camera to find the right focus point for you, if you're doing it manually, instead of clicking the button on the back or however you've got it set up and trying to chase a focus point all the time, I just find it much, much quicker to use the center focus point, grab what I want to focus, and slightly move the camera. To me, it's still the fastest way. And, once you've gotten used to that for years, it's very difficult to move away. Leica uses that system, focusing in the center of the screen and then recomposing. So it works for lots of photographers, and it's worked that way for many, many years. The fact that the center focus point is the most sensitive on just about every DSLR also makes that a really nice way to use the camera. And mentioning focusing, one of the big things that DSLRs do that I have not seen any mirrorless cameras do is when you are using a flash and you're focusing, the flashes on DSLRs will let you use the infrared beam, the red beam that fires out from the flash in low light situations to help you focus. And none of the mirrorless cameras that I've used that is functional. It's something to do with the way the sensors and everything works together. But having that on a DSLR is huge. I definitely shoot in some really, really low light situations when covering events. And having that focus beam has definitely made a huge difference. I've done quite a number of tests with it, and the speed increase from having that is huge. So the fact that that's on a DSLR is a big plus for me as well. So how do I feel about the D750? To me, it's just a fantastic camera. It is just the right balance of weight, size, ergonomics, fantastic image quality, reliability, everything that I could want in a camera. I use it for every shoot that I do. It's my main camera these days. There are definitely bigger cameras. The D850 is one that I'll be talking about in a future video. But this just is just the right camera, I think, for what I'm doing right now. It's it's become one of the big reasons why I switched back from mirrorless cameras to DSLR, and I'm really happy with this choice. So if you haven't tried a D750, definitely try to get one in your hands. They're very affordable compared to new cameras these days, and an excellent tool. I don't think you could go wrong with one. So if you enjoyed the video, thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.